All right, tonight, guys, we're going to try to get the Scorpion wrapped up. That is all of the body. Um, as far as the driver figure, I will probably do that hand painted on the outside of the body. So we're not going to be real concerned about trying to mask that off too much. The main body color is going to be black to go with the black tub that we bought. The car originally comes with a yellow tub, and I got the optional black. I thought that would give us more color options as far as our body goes. It's going to be a pretty simple paint scheme. I'm going to do some beachy stuff. We got a couple of palm trees cut out on the Cricut machine. Just a simple stripe or something on the side, and then do a kind of an opening in the hood and have like the sunset kind of t-shirt silhouette thing going on. And I think that'll look pretty cool. Not a whole lot of real estate here to mess with. We're not going to get overly complicated. So stick around. Let's get this thing messed up and get some paint on it. All right here we got our palm trees installed. Just framing out the hood. Like I said, it's going to kind of do the old school Myrtle Beach t-shirt look. I may still do a stripe down the side. Haven't decided yet. Trying to keep it simple so we can knock it out pretty quick. It's going to be tomorrow, although it'll be in the same video. It'll be tomorrow before I paint the driver. I'm going to pick up some acrylics at Anderson tomorrow on the way home. And we'll hand paint the driver after the fact and maybe spray some flat clear on it if it needs to be sealed up. But yeah, this basically took our FBS 1/8" fine line. It's a little bit tricky to do the overlap when you do the circle because it's kind of hard to decide where you're going to start and stop. And then I went this way and back around and then overlapped in the straight and instead of trying to overlap in a curve, that way you can get it somewhat lined up. That's the trick to that. It's easier to go straight than it is in the curve, obviously. Try not to stretch the tape too much. It's still trying to roll up on the corners. So what we're going to do right quick, we'll go ahead and throw some masking tape over that and hold it down. And this FBS masking tape is highly transparent and very flexible. And also, it's really sticky, but it's not. It's kind of hard to explain. It sticks really good to itself. And it's hard to get back apart because it's so thin. But it's really thin like a rice paper. You can see right through it if you need to cut any kind of stripes or lettering or whatever you do. I know Hemi Storm, he does all his lettering by hand, and it looks like he's just using normal masking tape. So you could do that with this if you're steady enough to hand cut letters. I used to be about 30 years ago, but not so much anymore. There's our panel. You kind of get the idea of the paint scheme now that you see that yellow behind it. We're going to do a fade with all the neon colors to make it look like the old sunset picture. And I keep feeling like this thing needs a heartbeat down the side to give that full 90s beach theme. So I'm going to attempt to do a heartbeat with fine line. And yeah, stick around. We'll come back when we get some tape on there. I'm not going to film all of my fumbling around, but basically need to do something just straight, like off of this. It's going to get tricky over that roll bar section. And then something simple as an old school heartbeat would look pretty cool on there, I think. All right, guys, we're cheating a little bit. Went on my Cricut here and I found a heartbeat, so I don't have to hand cut all this. So we're going to get that down the size and cut a couple and see if we can use them. All right, guys, we're back. Like I said, we cheated a little bit using the Cricut machine. I just sized that down to like 1.22 inches. We had about 1.25 inches. I wanted to be just a little bit less than 1.25 inches. And it was a happy accident that it came out pretty much a 1/16 of an inch. That was just purely by accident. and it worked out. So we're going to use our fine line to continue the pinstripe around the body and then incorporate the heartbeat. And this is the temporary Cricut film. I haven't tried it yet. Thought we'd give it a shot tonight. So I got to install this side. I'm going to trim off the blue. We're going to continue this one on to the end. And thought about doing a dual, maybe another one, and running just a single stripe kind of short. But let's get this one on there first before we make any design changes. So simply just stick it in there and line it up with the pinstripe, and then we'll trim the pinstripe away from it. The other one, I actually might go ahead and do that. The other one I marked and cut it a little bit short. That way we don't have to trim out every single little V out between the lines there. So now we just got to simply line it up. Nope, we're going to go this way. Had it upside down. It's kind of hard to tell. I did a left and a right. I mirrored one of them. One thing I did notice with this not permanent vinyl, it is a little bit easier to reposition, and it sticks good enough. But we'll see how it does with paint here in a second. That easy. I'm going to add that length, and then we'll make the call whether or not we're going to do a second one. All right, we got her all masked up. I'm only going to do one heartbeat, but I'm thinking about experimenting. I hate to experiment on this body, but that's the reason why I got the driver taped off, even though it was going to get painted black. Thinking about trying to make this look like a neon tube, and the way that would work would be to spray just basically like a drop shadow you would do, but it basically just follow that fine line tape with a neon pink or a hot pink, and then we're going to back it with black. We're going to lose a lot of the pink effect, but it's going to give a glow effect. It's going to look kind of pinkish around the edges, and then once we got everything backed, we spray that with a little bit, well, a lot lighter pink, maybe even almost white, with that glow around it, and the hot pink or super light pink in the center may give it the effect of a neon tube. So wish us luck. I think we're going to try it. Why not? All right, let's clean off our work table, and you don't see this. You'll see it eventually. All right, let's get the painting here. If this works out, I would be surprised, but I got a feeling it's going to look pretty cool. So I'm going to post it either way. So if you're seeing this, well, you're going to see it. Good, bad, or different. So hang on just a minute. All right, I've had my grubby hands all over this, trying to laying this tape out. So I'm just taking some alcohol. This is 100% isopropyl alcohol. Get it from the Body Shop Supplies, places that we buy our materials. A little stronger than what you can get over the counter, but still it's just isopropyl, just rubbing alcohol. Just 100%. All right, I do not have a regulator. I have a regulator, but I don't have a gauge on my airbrush. I just turned it down to, I'd say that's no more than 10. I'm trying to keep this kind of under control. You don't want a bunch of overspray when you're trying to keep a controlled spray. And we're not going for coverage. We're going to use this fluorescent magenta. We're not going for coverage. We're just going for a little glowy effect. This is all in theory. I have no idea if this is going to work. Put my goggles on. Make sure everything's tapped down. We may have a little blow through around the body, the roll bar mount here. It's a little tricky, but that'll be okay. Again, we're just going to follow the pinstripe. Can you see me? Yep, you can see me. All right, try to get you a better angle here. All right, we better stop right there. There's the effect. You kind of see the glow around it. Normally, you would never try to back up pink with black because it's going to drown it out. But that's kind of what we needed. We needed to drown it out because we want this line to look like a hot neon tube. So we're going to hit it with some black and see what happens. All right, we ended up putting another coat of pink on there just because I had a place that tried to do a little funky separation when I hit it with the air pressure too much. I don't think it's going to cause any effect because, again, we're putting black over it, so it's going to drown it out quite a bit. Went ahead and untaped the driver figure because I didn't want any pink overspray in here because we want to make sure the floor and everything's going to be black because I'm going to come, like I said, I'm going to come back and hand paint the driver on the outside of the body. So anyway, let's spray some black on there and see what happens. I'm sticking with water all the way through because I'm doing like I do on my fades. First coat I've dried, second coat I'm leaving it a little bit wet. That way this kind of blends in with it. Hopefully it don't make mud. So it all sounds good. Whether or not it works, who knows? But we're getting ready to find out. Light coats, not trying to drown it. I think we're going to pull it off okay. Looks a little muddy right now, but you got to trust the process. And we may be creating a process here. I don't know. Yeah, let me get a couple more coats on there, and then I'm thinking I'm going to do that basically white with a little bit of pink in it, just make it a pink white. I'm afraid it was strong enough. If we did the neon pink in there, it might lose the effect. So I think it needs to be almost white. So anyway, let me go ahead and get the rest of this black on here, and we'll start doing our little hood panel here. All right, we got our hood panel pulled out, and we're going to start with our beachy theme here. We're going to do just a little bit of purple around the edges, and then we're going to come back with our magenta, the same magenta we used on our neon tube. And then we're going to make orange and red, or orange and pink, out of that by just adding the yellow as we go. We're going to leave everything wet pretty much. That way it all kind of blend together and look like it was meant to be. Like it's just a photograph. Well, not quite that detailed, but it's going to look a little more natural just letting it blend together. All right, we're going to stop there. That's not much. You can kind of see it with the light shining through it. I'm going to let that dry just a little bit before we throw the magenta on it. I want it to be wet, but not wet wet. I don't want it to just make mud. If it's like totally wet, it's going to just blend all together and make it brown. So we'll let that dry for just a minute. Let it just kind of flash off, not really get totally dry. And then we'll hit it with the magenta. All right, we got it flashed off pretty good. Still got a couple little wet spots in the corners. That's fine. We're just kind of blending it together anyways. I just didn't want it totally wet. Carry this down a little bit further. There you go. Kind of see what the effect. This right here being a little bit wet will allow that wet paint to kind of not really bleed into it, but for it to just kind of, all the dots will kind of go away. It'll kind of melt together. We're going to put a little bit more right here, and then we're going to let that set for just a minute, then we're going to directly hit it with yellow. Good enough. Let that flash for just a second, and we'll come back with fluorescent yellow. All right, moving right along. Got that, let that dry a little bit. It's still a little bit moist. We're going to hit that with yellow. So it naturally should turn to like an orange halo with the yellow in the center. And the longer our heartbeat dries here, it looks a little on the brown side, like dark red. So we might get away with some, not so much white, but more of a pinky pink. So we may just go ahead and go with fluorescent pink on that. And yeah, that way we'll tie some pink in. I didn't want just a white stripe. It might look a little silly. If that would have stayed a little more pink with the black over it, we probably would have done with the white. But we'll do some really bright pink. I didn't need to explain all that, but I just did. All right. There's our natural fade in our trees. We're going to come back and paint the trees black. Like I say, we're going for the Myrtle Beach silhouette t-shirt look. This stripe I'll probably do in a metallic silver just because we got so much silver on the car. And I didn't want to try to mimic another neon tube because I thought it might look funny since we didn't get to do the glow on the inside. So we'll probably just do that silver just to tie in with the wheels and the chassis and everything's raw aluminum. So I think that will look cool. And we may in the future get an aluminum wing for the body or for the car itself. So that will tie everything together. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of this yellow on here. And then we'll pull the fine line out. And yeah, probably going to just hit it with some neon pink. I think it'll be all right. All right, we got everything backed up with white. I went ahead and pulled out the fine line. And while I've got white in my brush, I'm going to hit just a couple of the dots on the heartbeat to give it a little bit of hot spot, like when it changes directions. So I'm going to be really careful just to hit the tips of these heartbeats, and hopefully that'll look cool. I'm going to do a couple in these curves too, just where it would bend. You think the tube would naturally bend, and I think that'll work out just right. All right, we're going to quit while we're ahead. We're going to go right into fluorescent pink after I clean the airbrush, and we'll be right back. All right, I'm going to hop right into, this is Parma Fast Color fluorescent pink. It's a little bit brighter than this magenta, so hopefully this works. Yep. I'm kind of feeling that. Kind of looks like a glowing neon light. Pretty cool. Yeah, I'm gonna get a couple more coats on here. We're gonna have to back this up with white, and then we'll pull the. Well, we gotta spray the trees. They're just going black, and we'll pull this out and spray the silver. But kind of got the effect. Kind of like it. Yeah. All right, went ahead and sprayed our palm tree, and it looks like I missed a spot. But anyways, we'll touch that up. But we'll go ahead and spray this silver, and then we'll be ready for an unveil. All right, we got our little spot touched up. I actually had a fisheye right in the middle of that tree there. So got that touched up, easy enough. We're going to spray some pearl silver. All right, there's one coat. Still looks kind of transparent. Looks like there's not even anything there. But I'm going to put another coat on. I'm going to back it with gray. I went ahead and backed most everything else with gray since I was spraying kind of between colors here. I had to seal up everything to spray the black on the trees. I didn't want anything showing through, so we backed that with gray first. I always do that if you watch any of the other paint videos. Yeah, let's get one more coat of silver on there. We'll back it up, and we'll be ready for an unveil. All right, guys, we're going to take this one step further. I went ahead and trimmed out around the driver and the back of the body here. We're going to do some matte clear on it. Probably going to leave the driver pretty much black. We'll paint his his gloves white, maybe paint the steering wheel. We got decals for the seat belts. We'll have to hand paint the helmet. But my man here is not into shiny black suits, so we're going to make him flat black, and we'll add details to it once we get done. We're going outside because this is pretty potent stuff. Takes like 1 or 2 coats actually, and you're good to go. All right, we'll let that do its thing, and then we'll come right back. All right, guys, we all wrapped up here. We got the flat clear on, let it dry. I do not recommend spraying this with high humidity. We have had some rain, but it's kind of calmed down right now. It's not actively raining right now. But anyway, the most satisfying part of painting your body is removing this film and revealing all of your hard work. There we go. There's our neon tube beach buggy. Looks pretty cool. Looks a little brown, but it has that red glow behind the pink. I kind of like it. It kind of fades away in the camera right there, but in person it looks really cool. All right, this is not a wrap for the video. Just stick around a minute. We're going to strategically put a couple decals on. We'll put the little driver's head on there, and we'll put the roll cage on, and we'll get it on the car so we'll get a real perspective on what we got going on here. But yeah, there you go. Check it out. Pretty cool. All right, guys, that's a wrap. I didn't take any video of me painting the helmet, but here's a few pictures. As you can see, we did a little bit of hand painting, and had to get my eyes on for that because those little bitty eyeballs were a trick. But anyways, here you go. Here's our finished product. I did order a Pitbull LED whip antenna today. Unfortunately, I don't have it for the video. I think it would look really cool. We got a purple one. They don't make pink, but we got purple in the body. I think it'll work. We're going to put it back here in the stock location. I don't think I'm going to put a wing on it. I thought about getting the aluminum wing, but I want to try to keep this more of a sandrail, less than a race car. Even though we got a couple race car decals on there, we put the Goodyear on it, and we went ahead and put the Kyosho because this little block here looked kind of lost with nothing on it. All right, guys, there's the finished product, all up close and personal. It's not perfect, and we learned a few things. I think I can improve upon this neon, make it look a little more rounded with the addition of an outline or something. So I got some ideas there. We never would have learned that if we didn't try something, and we tried it. I got this idea from a graffiti artist. I was watching a video on Instagram. And if you're on Instagram, so are we. And if you're seeing this video on Tuesday night, well, actually, yeah, Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, you're a member and you got early access. And if you want early access to our videos, just click that join button. That'll help support the channel and help us with these projects. And yeah, there it is. So if you would, hit that subscribe, like, comment, and tell me what you think. We'll see you next time. Thanks.